So in today's video, we're going to be talking about this GOC Valkyrie 3 guitar. Without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. If this is your first time stopping by, feel free, check out the library of content. I usually cover a lot of topics related to your modern guitarist, so if that's something that might be interesting to you, consider subscribing. So I just recently picked up this GOC. I took it on a trade. I actually ended up trading that Strabano Scimitar for this Valkyrie 3. And so far, I've been really impressed. I've got a lot of cool things to talk about with this one, so let's run right into it. In the last year or so, I've noticed a lot of comments, particularly on a lot of my headless guitar videos. I've had a lot of encouragement to check out GOC guitars. I know at this point in time, their primary focus is all headless models. They do both guitars and basses. I've heard a lot of great things, so I definitely have that on my list to do at some point in time. This is my first chance to really experience anything from the GOC brand. My understanding that this Valkyrie 3 is an older model. I believe one of their earlier productions that they had several years back. I know they don't make these anymore. I believe everything they offer at this current time is all headless. You can see this model is more of like that modern, that Blackmachine body style. It's kind of pointy, a little bit thinner, looks very aggressive, very modern, similar to some of the other brands like Skirvison, Ormsby, different things like that. I've tried to do a little bit of research. I can't say there's a ton of information about these guitars. I don't believe many of these guitars were produced, so I was very fortunate to find one in a local trade. I would say so far, I'm pretty happy with what this guitar offers. I've done my best to try to find some factory specifications. They're not listed on the website anywhere, so I've done my best to kind of dig through the internet and find some older reverb listings. So let's go through the specs. So they're calling this one the GOC Valkyrie 3. This color is called Bengal Burst. This is a 6-string baritone featuring a 26.5-inch scale. I think that's a great scale length if you're not wanting to get too extensive there with like your 28s, your 30s, all that kind of stuff. You've got a little bit more scale to work with to support lower tunings. We've got a beautiful flame maple top. I suspect maybe that could be a veneer. Import price range, probably more likely a veneer, but I would say that looks like a fantastic flame. Really, really nice looking top there. No complaints whatsoever. We've got a swamp ash body, which has this antique ash treatment. Gives it sort of a little bit of a rustic look, gives it a little more character, a little more texture, just to make it more interesting. I like the fact this one does have just a little bit of weight, I believe coming around about mid 7-pound range, so it does balance well, sits comfortably against the body. This one also has the truss rod adjustment at the neck heel. In my opinion, I really think this is the best way to go. I wish more companies would incorporate that. Got 24 jumbo frets. If I'm not mistaken, I believe these are stainless, which is a nice touch, always best for durability. Got a 5-piece maple wenge neck, so we've got a couple little thin stripes in there just to add stability. From what I'm reading, this model, I believe, also came with carbon fiber reinforcement rods just to maximize neck stability. Got one volume knob here and a 3-way toggle. Looks like this appears to have been modified at some point. This knob definitely does not look factory. It does have a little bit of a kind of flatter, wider knob. And this piece, I believe, would have originally been black, but this one appears to be swapped out for gold, which, I don't know, not really my cup of tea. I'll probably swap that out for black, but this gives it a little bit more of a neutral appearance. I'm not 100% sure on the pickups. I suspect probably some type of import house brand would be my best guess. I don't see a lot of information about this discontinued model. I do know for a fact that this one was modified. It does have a Seymour Duncan Invader, which is a pretty cool pickup. I know it's been around for a long time. Very popular for the modern, the metal, the low tune stuff. Lots of chugs, very aggressive. This one was also upgraded with hip shot locking tuners. I'm always a fan of hip shot. I don't think you can really go wrong. Very popular for a lot of different makes of guitar. You see it's got that Blackmachine style headstock, which I think looks absolutely fantastic. Similar to what you find with a lot of these other like modern high-end guitars, similar to like the OD, Skirvison, stuff like that. I don't know the manufacturer for this bridge. I'm assuming this is just kind of a simple like import no-name hardware, but I suppose you could always upgrade this. I did happen to find a spare hip shot bridge lying around in a parts drawer, so maybe I'll have this swapped out just to match the tuners. So just go all hip shot and everything. And as far as the neck shape, I would definitely consider this one more of a slimmer D shape. It's not super flat. It's not like a round C, probably somewhere in between. Coming in at 20 millimeters thickness at the first fret up to 21 at the 12th fret. So I would consider that a reasonably slim modern D shape. So it's definitely comfortable. I wouldn't mind it if it was just a tad thinner, as my taste is more on the extremer side as far as like neck profile. But I think for most people, if you're coming from like a Schecter or an LTD, something in that category, maybe a Kiesel, this would probably feel right at home. I really like this 5-bolt neck heel. Seems to be very comfortable. It is a rounded contour there, so it does make for a more comfortable heel. You don't have any portion of the neck where it's like raised up on this side. So I think that does make for a very well constructed, comfortable neck heel. Taking a close look at the body, one thing that really stands out to me, probably one of my favorite things about this particular shape on the Valkyrie, is we have a proper rounded forearm contour where it's actually got a bent top. So this feels really comfortable against the wrist and forearm. If you guys watch my videos, you'll know I'm very particular about ergonomics. I do think that's something that is often overlooked in gear reviews. So big win as far as the design, having that rounded contour. If you look at that from the edge, you can see that definitely has got a nice rounded bend there, so very comfortable. Same thing on the back. We have a very ergonomic, well-sculpted body carve, so it does sit against the body very nicely. A little bit of a strange fretboard wood. This does have a Wenge fretboard, which it's not the most common. Probably wouldn't be my first choice as far as a fretboard wood, being a little bit more of an open grain texture, but this particular one still feels reasonably smooth. No complaints. Just doing a quick little balance test. Like I said, this one came in around 7.5 pounds. It is a swamp ash body. It's also very lightweight. I did measure the actual thickness of the body, and it came in just a little under 1.5 inches. So for comparison, I would say it is a very thin body, but because this ash has just a little bit more heft to it, the guitar balances perfectly. Like, look at this. I mean, no neck dive. No neck dive whatsoever. It just goes to show, as I've said before, just because by design you have a thin ash body doesn't necessarily mean that the guitar is always going to neck dive. So overall, very cool instrument. I'm really bummed that they don't make these anymore. I really think that, like, if you're looking for like that Blackmachine body style that has better updated ergonomics and contours, I really think this guitar was really a hidden gem. Now, that being said, there are a couple issues with it. I want to go ahead and address those. So first things first, a couple minor little issues here, some things that could use a little bit of maintenance. This nut, it's very cheap and plasticky. It has kind of a hard right angle on there. It doesn't feel great. It looks to be plastic. It's definitely not a graphite or a tusk or a bone or anything like that, which again, at a lower import price range, you can't expect too much as far as a nut. So again, I don't know if this is what came with the guitar. It was previously modified before my ownership, but I would say it definitely needs to have an upgrade there. It's got some shim on there, and it does feel like a really sharp, like angular plastic, so I'll definitely be sure to upgrade that. Something strange on the body. This one does have a pretty significant shim in the neck pocket. I don't know the exact reason for that. I do know sometimes when you run into a problem, if let's say, for example, you're not able to lower the bridge anymore, if you've reached like your maximum adjustment there as far as the saddle height, if you're still trying to get that to line up to get a little lower, perhaps you put a shim in the neck pocket just to give yourself a little bit more of that angle to try to achieve a better setup. But looking at the bridge, it looks like there's still room to lower the saddles a bit more. So I'm gonna speculate here that probably wasn't necessary to have a neck shim, but I'm gonna let my luthier go over this and make that final decision. Only other thing I will say as far as like just craftsmanship and quality control, if you kind of run your hand over this side here where the body runs into the binding, there is a little bit of a lip right there. You can kind of hear that. Maybe something going on where they glued the top or they folded this contour. Not exactly sure, but it does look a little bit sloppy right here as far as this this binding on the body. You see it does have that engraving there for the model name, the Valkyrie 3, again from GOC Guitars. Looks pretty good. The whole guitar is very minimal in a lot of ways. Like there's no logo on like the headstock, there's no serial number or anything like that. It's pretty bare bones. Like I said before, it does have an aftermarket Seymour Duncan Invader pickup. I've had this pickup before on other baritones. It's not my favorite. I'm assuming this is still the stock pickup. Doesn't exactly sound great. I'll consider looking at maybe a pickup upgrade just because I really do like this guitar. And despite it being more of a relatively lower price point for this time, these guitars are very uncommon. You almost never see them listed for sale anywhere. So just because I love the shape, I love the comfort, I love the balance, I love this baritone, I might even consider doing a pickup upgrade on this model. We'll see. But yeah, overall, very cool instrument. Looks good, very comfortable guitar, balances extremely well. It's everything you would want. You know, like I said, if you're looking for something in that Blackmachine style category, I really think these had a lot to offer. So just kind of a bummer to see that they no longer make these headstock models anymore. So that's it for this one. Again, just want to give you a quick overview, first take impressions. I just acquired this one today in a local trade. Definitely needs to get into the shop. It does need some work. Want to get this set up proper. Got to figure out what's going on with these shims and all that kind of stuff. So once I get that dialed in, I'll be sure to go over everything in a proper full format review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to hit the video with a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.